Always remember to use the WebDM documentation. It gives you all the reference guide to all the HTML tags you'll need. If you need to go deeper, you can always look into this documentation and look at the markup and just see the technical summary, how the tag works, and some explanation of it. We can just copy this out because we're just grabbing, a beginning syntax of an actual page. So we want to create an index.html file. And we can reuse and apply. Instead of copy paste, we can reuse and apply. This section has a HTML tag with a header, and of course the meta tags and a title. So we want to expand this out a little bit. Maybe perhaps change the title for our crypto coin tracker. And the viewport and the metadata is what the browser will read in. And then of course the body tag. We are probably going to put we can put a div tag, which is a container. We can give it an ID for later when we're doing CSS, but for right now, we'll put an ID in there. It's the root element. It's important to know that when we use CSS selectors, we can target any of these things in the document object model, which is the DOM. The DOM tree, every element here will roll up into an actual model in JavaScript. So right now we're just putting in a header tag h1 and just putting crypto coin tracker. If we preview it using live server, remember live server is an extension you can install in Visual Studio. You can see there that the h1 tag has kind of printed out that nice header for us with its own default styles. Next, we want to build a search entry box, so we can go ahead and look at the input tag. And again, we can look at the documentation. Instead of typing all out, we can reuse and apply this as well. It gives you a nice little demo that you can look at, as well as the different specifications for different input types, whether it be radio button, checkbox, password, all these different types of things will go into the type attribute on that element. And even the text box is what we're looking for. So when you give it an attribute of type text, it's going to have number one, specific styling, default behavior. So we can go ahead and apply that. You can see it has different attributes on the HTML tag. So you can see we can get rid of some of these right now. We'll go back to that, but now we'll put a value of empty string. We could put some other attributes there if we wanted to, like placeholder. Placeholder basically gives you a nice little watermark, kind of smart. You can give like a little hint. So we'll put search crypto in the placeholder, and you'll see it when we preview the page. It'll have a nice little search crypto text in there. Again, you can view this in two ways. You could use our live server. It's a plugin, or you could right click that file itself and view it in the browser as an alternative to looking at this file. So we're going to look at the next step is probably going to be a select element for a dropdown, because we have the text input. We want a way to select types of market data, hour volume, those types of things, because we're going to be searching cryptocurrencies. So we need to have a little bit of a multi-select here. Again, instead of typing this all out, you can always go to the docs and just apply the structure they give you. Always good to scroll down all the time to see the basic select, see what that looks like. It's a little bit more simpler, and you can demo it. This probably looks pretty fine. So we can use this for second value. And again, another note is you can always look at the technical specifications for browsers, and you can see all the different browser types, desktop and mobile, and the different attributes that on that tag that'll be supported. So always check that, even with JavaScript and CSS, with whatever button browser you might be targeting. So we're just going to grab this for second value, and then we can just put some data in there for the market select values. So one will probably be market cap. And again, these keys, the values, are what is selected in the background when you actually work with a form. More on that later. Market cap would be one type of filter we're going to add, and we can just copy paste this here. And then the next one will probably be 24-hour volume, I believe. We'll put some dummy options in there in case we need them. But the key point is we're trying to match up the value right now. See how I have the underscore there for current price, current underscore price, market underscore cap. The reason why we're doing this is this will actually match up with the API when we actually go to call this data for real. This will actually be a key that's used. That's why we're doing it. If we weren't dependent on that, it could just be, key could be whatever you want. It could be market cap, all one word. Just price change, one word. We wouldn't have to do it. But because we're going to be matching this value to a key, it needs to be very specific. That's why it has this appearance in the text. We're building this early so we don't have to change it later on. So we have price, 24-hour volume, 24-hour change. Preview this again with our live server. You can see we have a little drop down filter. We have a way to enter our cryptocurrency, our name of our coin or the symbol. And we're probably going to want to build after this, since we have a way of getting the user data, the user input. Most likely we're probably going to want some type of placeholder or some type of container for the results. Building this forward, the results will actually come back as cryptocurrencies. And we're using CoinGecko, which is just a little bit of a dashboard with different currencies on the market cap. This is live data. They actually provide an API we'll use, but we're going to be pulling real data. But for now, we're building a static site. So you can go and inspect any coin and right-click the image. You can use a trick and open an image tab, and you'll see there on the top there it is actually a static asset that they use, and you can actually tweak that. You can tweak it if you want the large image. Like this is the standard size, but if we wanted a large image just to work with, and then we can control the size of it later with CSS. You just see that copy paste or reuse and apply the URL, and we can do that for 4 or 5 different coins, different images that we can work with. And then we can build out a little bit of a start of a static dashboard. So we're going to need, so we'll just put this in here for right now and comment it out. That's going to be our image source that we're going to reference. So you can highlight this all the way, by the way, and just quickly toggle the line comment with the menu there in Visual Studio, or you can manually do this. But it's in clipboard memory, so we're not going to lose it. We're building our first little crypto card, and we're putting a little container, and then we're adding a little smaller header. H2 is going to be smaller, and Bitcoin. We're going to put some of those current price, volume, change. Those things will be real data. For right now, we're just going to create a placeholder for it. When we're dealing with React, we're going to populate this for real. But for right now, we're just putting static data in, and the numbers don't really matter right now, just as long as you have the label for these things. So we're just gonna put this placeholder HTML here. We're probably gonna do a couple of these, maybe 3 or 4, just to have a little bit of some mock data, as they call it. And once we do this once, we can copy paste, reuse, and apply this a few times, so we don't have to type this out again. Again, the numbers don't matter here because they're just static. Main thing is the appearance of this, and we want to get the elements right, because when we add CSS, we're going to style it a little bit better, add some spacing and some margin and all of that. We're going to put the image in just a second, and then we're going to have some markup to work with. So after you do that, we have the header, we have the data, then we're going to copy it a few times just because we have a nice structure here. 3 or 4 times, we'll just apply this and change it to some other coins out there, like Ethereum's the popular one. It's likely Solana as well. Ethereum, I can never spell this again. I always have to look it up. Ethereum. Apply that a couple more times. Control V, Control C, Control V for the hotkeys, by the way. We'll grab another one for Dogecoin, a little small meme coin out there. Pretty popular, but again, when we preview this, we can see there's three coins. You could add a couple if you want to. Now we want to look up this image tag and see how we can actually apply that image to it. So you can see it's a small tag, a self-closing tag, in fact. And you can see there's an attribute for source, and that's going to point to that external link that we have stored in memory. So we can use this piece of work here and just put in that sample that we had. We don't really need the class at this point. We will come back and add that attribute on so we can style this for ourselves. This would be exactly where put our source, our link, and the alt tag is like a little tooltip, little informational if somebody hovers over this element. Just kind of make this a little bit cleaner, put it all in one line, because we're gonna reuse and apply this a few more times. But because obviously each coin's going to have its own specific image. So there's our Bitcoin one that we have kind of sitting in comment there. Now we can Control X and cut it if you want, and then Control Paste, Control V. Those are short keys. If you're not sure about keyboard shortcuts, put that as Bitcoin. Now we have to go back. We have to probably most likely find. We can see it now. It's rendered. We're going to need to go grab the other images so we can just search CoinGecko for Ethereum. Make sure we spelt it right. And same thing. We can inspect that little diamond there. Open it in the tab, grab the URL, just apply it the same way. So we can change that, or we can keep it standard however we want. But I'm going to put that in the image source for the next card and just change the alt tag just so we have consistency here. And then we'll do the same thing for Doge. And then we should have at least three little cards to work with. And then when I say cards, it's because that's what we're going to name the component. We deal with React. We're going to call them little cards. We can change this to large just so it's not a standard small. So you can see there that's consistent. And then we need one more. And you can build out this as much as you want. I just picked 3 or 4 just to get going. But just know that this will eventually be live data, and there'll probably be, it could be, depending on your search, 30 or 20 or 30 cards that come back with some information. So maybe we'll get, I think I changed my mind here. Maybe we'll get Solana because the icon's a little bit better, and we'll just change the header here, and we'll put that source in. Solana is not a meme coin. Dogecoin is actually a meme coin, which means Dogecoin does have some utility behind it, but oftentimes some meme coins don't. So Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, they have ecosystems. So let's try to keep it to some of the major coins, I guess you could say. All right, so we have a start here of an interface, and we need to add some styling to it.